Commander Zex-9 stared at the blue planet through the observation deck of his flagship. The third planet from the yellow star looked peaceful from space. White clouds swirled over green and brown continents. Blue oceans sparkled under the system's light. It should have been perfect for the small species they had found living there, but something was wrong with this world. The hegemony had been watching Earth for 3 cycles now. Their long-range scouts had detected radio signals coming from the planet. The signals showed intelligence but not very advanced technology. Perfect for what the hegemony called a mercy rescue. Zex-9 walked to his command chair and activated the main screen. Data flowed across the display showing everything they had learned about the planet and its dominant species. The creatures called themselves humans. They were small, weak, and had no natural weapons. No claws, no fangs, no armor plating. They should have died out long ago. That was the problem. "Show me the surface scans again," Zex-9 ordered his science officer. The screen changed to show images from their hidden probes. A human city appeared first. Tall buildings reached toward the sky. Millions of the creatures moved through streets like ants in a colony. They used simple machines and burned fossil fuels for energy. Nothing impressive. Then the scan shifted to show the areas outside the cities. Zex-9 felt his breathing slow as he watched. Massive creatures with thick fur and claws the size of swords roamed through forests. In the oceans, beasts longer than warships hunted smaller prey with rows of razor teeth. Flying creatures with wingspans wider than shuttlecraft soared through the skies. Even the plants seemed dangerous, with thorns like spears and roots that could crush stone. "How do they survive?" whispered Science Officer Cole 4 from her station. It was the same question that had puzzled the hegemony for cycles. Every probe they sent to the surface told the same impossible story. The humans shared their world with thousands of species that should have killed them all. Giant cats that could leap 20 meters. Snakes whose bite could drop a warrior in seconds. Tiny insects that swarmed in numbers too large to count. Yet somehow the humans not only survived but thrived. "Perhaps they hide underground?" suggested Navigation Officer Rix 2. "No," Zex-9 replied, pointing to the screen. "Look at this." The display showed a human settlement near a forest. Children, the smallest and weakest of the humans, played in open areas while massive predators watched from the tree line. The beasts could have attacked at any moment. Instead, they simply observed and moved away. "The predators ignore them," Cole 4 said, her voice filled with confusion. "Why? We don't know," Zex-9 admitted. "But we know our duty." The hegemony had rules about primitive species trapped on death worlds. They must be saved whether they wanted salvation or not. The humans clearly could not understand how much danger they were in. They had grown up with these monsters. They probably thought this nightmare was normal. "Prepare the Mercy Fleet," Zex-9 commanded. "We'll save as many as we can." The plan was simple and had worked on dozens of worlds before. The hegemony would arrive with massive ships and overwhelming technology. They would show the primitive species the dangers of their world. Then they would offer transportation to safe colonies in hegemony space. Most species begged to be rescued once they understood. After the evacuation, hegemony mining ships would strip the world of its valuable resources. Everyone won. The primitives got safety and civilization. The hegemony got materials for expansion. Zex-9 watched as his fleet formed up around the flagship. 30 heavy cruisers and hundreds of smaller ships prepared for the jump to Earth. Each vessel carried enough firepower to level mountains and enough transport. Space to carry millions of refugees. Jump coordinates. "Locked," reported Rix 2. "All ships report ready," added Communications Officer Deck 7 Zex-9, settled into his command chair. Another mercy mission. Another primitive species saved from their own world. He had done this 17 times before. The humans would be grateful once they understood. "Execute jump," he ordered. Space twisted around the fleet as they entered hyperspace. In moments, they would arrive at Earth and begin the salvation of humanity. The first message to Earth was broadcast on all human communication frequencies. Zex-9 himself spoke the words that had been used on countless worlds. "People of Earth, we are the hegemony. We come in peace to offer you salvation. Your world is a death trap filled with creatures that will destroy you. We offer transport to safe worlds where you can live without fear. Prepare your population for evacuation. We will save you from this nightmare." The response came faster than expected. "Unknown vessels, this is Earth Defense Command. You are in violation of our space. State your intentions and prepare to be boarded." Zex-9 blinked in surprise. The humans were threatening them? Their tiny ships were like insects compared to hegemony cruisers. Their weapons were chemical rockets and metal projectiles. They might as well throw rocks. Transmit again, he ordered. Make it clear we're here to help them. The second message was longer and more detailed. Zex-9 explained about the dangerous creatures on Earth. He showed images of safe hegemony worlds where humans could live in peace. He promised technology and medicine beyond their imagination. The response was even shorter than the first. Leave our system immediately or we will open fire. They don't understand, Colfor said. They've lived with the monsters so long they think it's normal. Then we'll have to show them, Zex-9 decided. Deploy assault shuttles to the major population centers. Start with demonstrations of our technology. Once they see what we can do, they'll listen. The first shuttles launched toward Earth's surface. Their mission was to land in major cities and set up demonstration zones. The humans would see hegemony medicine healing their sick. They would watch hegemony technology solve their problems. They would understand that the hegemony way was better. But as the shuttles approached the atmosphere, something unexpected happened. Commander? Deck 7 called out, his voice tight with confusion. The shuttles are reporting strange readings from the surface. What kind of readings? Life signs. Massive numbers of life signs. Every shuttle reports the same thing. The entire planet is showing as occupied. Zex-9 frowned. That was impossible. Their scans showed most of the planet was wilderness. Humans only lived in small areas. Show me the shuttle feeds, he ordered. The main screen split into multiple views from the approaching shuttles. Each showed a different part of Earth's surface. What Zex-9 saw made his blood run cold. Every forest, every ocean, every mountain was alive with movement. Creatures he had only seen in small numbers on the probe recordings now appeared in vast groups. Packs of wolves ran through forests by the thousands. Schools of massive sea creatures filled entire ocean areas. Flocks of flying beasts darkened the skies, and all of them were moving toward the human cities. Are they attacking the humans? Colfor asked. No, Zex-9 whispered, watching the incredible display. They're protecting them. As the shuttles descended, the creatures of Earth took positions around human settlements. They didn't attack the cities. Instead, they formed defensive lines facing the sky, facing the hegemony. Abort the landing, Zex-9 ordered quickly. Return all shuttles to the fleet, but it was too late. The creatures of Earth were already moving. The first orbital strike hit New York City at dawn. Commander Zex-9 watched from his flagship as the beam of concentrated energy carved through the morning sky. It struck the cluster of tall buildings the humans called Manhattan. Glass and steel melted like ice under a flame. Millions of the creatures lived in that area. Now they would understand the power of the hegemony. Broadcasting mercy message now, reported Communications Officer Deck 7. The message played on every human communication device across the planet. Zex-9 had recorded it himself, speaking in the human language his translation computers had learned. People of Earth, you have seen our power. We do not wish to harm you, but you refuse our help. Your world will kill you if we do not act. Gather in the designated safe zones. We will transport you to worlds where you can live without fear. Resist and more cities will fall. Zex-9 expected panic. Every other species had broken after the first demonstration. They would flood the communication channels with surrender offers. Their leaders would beg for mercy. Instead, the human response came as a single transmission from their primitive space station. You want a war? You've got one. Impossible, whispered Science Officer Colfor. They saw what we did to their city. How can they still resist? Zex-9 studied the tactical display. Human military forces were moving, but not toward shelters or escape routes. They were spreading out, taking defensive positions. Their flying machines launched from hidden bases. Their ships left ports heading for deep water. They were preparing to fight. Commander, called Tactical Officer Vex 3. Receiving reports from our surface probes. The wildlife behavior is becoming more unusual. Show me. The main screen displayed feeds from hidden cameras across Earth. What Zex-9 saw defied everything he knew about animal behavior. In the oceans, massive creatures were surfacing in coordinated groups. On land, predators that normally hunted alone were gathering in vast packs. Flying creatures filled the skies in formations that looked almost military. It's like they're organizing, Vex 3 continued. Every species on the planet is showing abnormal behavior patterns. Animals don't organize for war, Colfor stated firmly. They're just responding to the energy discharge from our weapons. But Zex-9 wasn't so sure. He had been watching this planet for cycles. The relationship between humans and their world's creatures had never made sense. Now, as the humans prepared for battle, their planet's beasts were doing the same. "Begin Phase 2, he ordered. "Hit their major military installations. Show them resistance is useless." The second wave of orbital strikes targeted human military bases around the globe. Bases hidden in mountains vaporized under focused energy beams. Naval yards became pools of molten metal. Airfields turned to glass craters. But for every installation they destroyed, 10 more revealed themselves. The humans had been hiding their true military strength. Underground bunkers opened to reveal weapons the hegemony had never detected. Ships emerged from underwater caves. Aircraft launched from roads and fields. "How many military assets do they have?" Vex-3 asked in amazement. "More than our intelligence estimated," Zex-9 admitted. "But it doesn't matter. Their weapons can't reach us in orbit." That assumption lasted exactly 17 minutes. "Commander," Dex-7 shouted. "Missiles incoming. Multiple launches from the surface." The tactical display lit up with dozens of projectiles rising from Earth. They were primitive chemical rockets, no threat to hegemony shields. Zex-9 watched calmly as his defensive systems tracked the incoming weapons. Then the first missile exploded. It detonated in space, nowhere near the fleet. Zex-9 was about to comment on human incompetence when the explosion expanded. A pulse of electromagnetic energy washed over his ships. "Electromagnetic pulse," Vex-3 reported. "Primitive but effective. It's disrupting our sensor arrays." More missiles detonated in sequence, creating a web of interference around the fleet. The humans couldn't hurt them, but they were making it hard to target the surface accurately. "Clever," Zex-9 admitted, "but pointless. Deploy the landing forces. If they want to play war, we'll give them a real war." Transport ships launched from the fleet carrying thousands of hegemony warriors. Each soldier wore powered armor and carried weapons that could cut through steel. Against primitive humans with their chemical projectile weapons, the landing would be a massacre. The first transport touched down in what the humans called Europe. Hegemony soldiers poured out of the ship, ready to establish a beachhead. They advanced through a forest area, their sensors detecting no immediate threats. That was when the trees attacked. "Receiving distress signal from Landing Force Alpha," Dex-7 reported, his voice filled with confusion. They report the forest is moving. Clarify that report," Zex-9 ordered. "The trees, Commander. They say the trees are alive and hostile." Zex-9 switched to the landing force camera feeds. What he saw made no sense. Hegemony soldiers were fighting for their lives against vegetation. Tree branches reached out like arms, wrapping around warriors and crushing their armor. Roots erupted from the ground, tripping and entangling troops. Even the leaves seemed hostile, falling in clouds that clogged air filters and blinded optical sensors. "Forest predators must be using the vegetation for cover," Cole 4 suggested. But the camera feeds showed no animals, just plants that moved like they were alive and angry. "Landing Force Beta reports similar problems," Dex-7 continued. "They landed near a human city and are under attack by house pets." "House pets?" "Small domestic animals, Commander. Cats, dogs, birds. They're attacking in coordinated groups." Zex-9 called up that feed as well. Hegemony soldiers, each one capable of fighting a dozen human warriors, were being overwhelmed by Earth's smallest creatures. Cats climbed their armor and clawed at sensor arrays. Dogs bit through power cables. Birds dove at their helmets in endless waves. "This is impossible," Vex-3 stated. "Animals don't coordinate attacks like this." "Landing Force Gamma reports they're underwater," Dex-7 added. "Their transport was sunk by aquatic life." The reports kept coming. Every landing force faced the same impossible situation. Earth's creatures were fighting them with tactical intelligence and perfect coordination. Predators worked together across species lines. Prey animals attacked alongside their natural enemies. The entire planet seemed to have turned into a unified army. "Recall all landing forces," Zex-9 ordered. "Immediately." "Sir, Landing Force Delta reports they cannot reach their transport. They're surrounded by insects." "Insects?" "Bees, wasps, ants. Billions of them. The swarm is so thick it's blocking their communications." Zex-9 sat in his command chair, trying to process what he was seeing. This was not how invasions were supposed to work. Primitive species were supposed to break when faced with superior technology. They weren't supposed to turn their entire biosphere into a weapon. "How many landing forces are still operational?" he asked. Vex 3 checked his displays. 17%, Commander. The rest are either destroyed or cut off. In one day, the hegemony had lost over 80% of their ground forces. Not to human weapons or technology, but to the planet itself. Sir, Cole 4 said quietly, I'm detecting unusual seismic activity across the planet. Show me. The geological scan appeared on screen. Across every continent, deep underground vibrations were registering on their sensors. The patterns were too regular to be natural earthquakes. It looks like... Cole 4 paused, checking her readings again. It looks like something very large is moving beneath the surface. How large? Continental scale, sir. Zex 9 stared at the display. First, the surface creatures had coordinated against them. Now something underground was stirring. What kind of world had they found? Commander, Deck 7 called out. Receiving a transmission from Earth, it's from their leaders. Put it through. A human appeared on the main screen. The creature looked small and weak, but its eyes held no fear. When it spoke, its voice was calm and determined. Hegemony Fleet, this is President Chen of the United Earth Government. You have attacked our world and killed our people. We tried to warn you to leave. Now you will learn why nothing else in the galaxy has ever conquered Earth. You're not fighting just humanity. You're fighting our entire world, and Earth protects its children. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. Sir? Vex 3 reported quietly. Our remaining ground forces have gone silent. All of them. Dr. Sarah Chen pressed her hand against the bark of the ancient oak tree in Central Park. The tree felt warm, almost alive in a way she had never experienced before. Around her, the remnants of New York City lay in ruins from the alien attack, but the park itself seemed untouched, more than untouched. It seemed to be growing. The readings are off the charts, her research partner, Dr. James Wright, called from his position near the pond. Every life form in the park is showing increased neural activity. Plants, animals, even the bacteria in the soil. Sarah pulled her hand away from the tree and checked her tablet. The data streaming from their sensors made no scientific sense. The electromagnetic signatures coming from every living thing showed patterns that looked almost like communication networks. Sarah, you need to see this, James called urgently. She hurried to where he stood by the water. The pond, which had been empty of wildlife for years due to pollution, was now teeming with life. Fish swam in perfect formations. Ducks floated in precise geometric patterns. Even the insects above the water moved in coordinated spirals. How long have they been doing this? Sarah asked. Since the attack started, James replied. But it's not just here. I'm getting reports from colleagues around the world. Every ecosystem on Earth is showing the same behavior. Sarah looked up at the sky where the alien ships hung like dark stars. When they had first arrived 3 days ago, she had feared for humanity's survival. Now she was beginning to think the aliens should be the ones afraid. Dr. Chen, came a voice from behind them. They turned to see Captain Martinez approaching through the trees. The military officer looked exhausted but determined. The president wants to speak with you. They followed Martinez to a hidden bunker beneath the park. Inside, President Chen sat surrounded by screens showing feeds from around the globe. Sarah noticed they shared the same last name but had never met before the crisis began. Doctor, the president said without preamble, I need to understand what's happening to our planet. Sarah looked at the screens. Each one showed impossible scenes. In Africa, entire herds of elephants marched in perfect lines toward alien landing sites. In the Amazon, trees were physically moving, their root systems carrying them across the forest floor. In the oceans, whales sang in harmonized patterns that could be heard across entire ocean basins. Mr. President, Sarah began carefully, I think Earth is waking up. Explain. Sarah activated her tablet and projected her data onto the main screen. Every living system on the planet is showing unprecedented neural activity. Plants that shouldn't have complex nervous systems are displaying brain-like patterns. Animals are communicating across species barriers that have existed for millions of years. You're saying the planet is thinking, Captain Martinez asked skeptically. I'm saying the planet is responding, Sarah corrected. When the aliens attacked, they triggered something. Every ecosystem, every creature, every plant is acting like part of a single organism. And that organism is protecting humanity. President Chen leaned forward. Why us? Why is Earth defending humans specifically? Because we're family, James answered quietly. Everyone turned to look at him. Think about it. Humans and Earth's biosphere have been evolving together for millions of years. We shaped each other. We're not separate from nature, we're part of it. The most successful part, but we've damaged the environment, Martinez protested. We've caused extinctions, pollution, climate change. Siblings fight, Sarah said simply. But when an outside threat appears, family protects family. A new feed appeared on the main screen. It showed a hegemony outpost that had been established in the Australian outback. The alien soldiers inside their fortified base looked secure behind energy, shields and defensive weapons. Then, the ground beneath them began to move. What emerged from the earth was something that had never been seen before. It looked like a massive root system, but it moved with purpose and intelligence. Tendrils as thick as subway tunnels wrapped around the alien base. The energy shields flickered and failed as biological acids ate through their generators. My God, Martinez whispered. What is that thing? It's new, Sarah realized, studying the readings. Earth is creating new life forms, adapting, evolving in real time to fight the invasion. More screens showed similar scenes around the globe. In the Arctic, creatures that looked like polar bears but moved in perfect coordination attacked alien positions. They were larger than normal bears, stronger, and they worked together with tactical precision that would make military commanders jealous. In the tropical seas, something that might once have been a whale but was now much larger surfaced near alien ships. Its song could be heard across the entire ocean, calling others of its kind. When they answered, the harmonies shattered the hulls of alien vessels. The entire biosphere is adapting to fight them, James observed. Earth is turning itself into a weapon, but how? President Chen asked. Evolution takes millions of years. Not if you're a planet-sized organism with billions of component parts, Sarah replied. Earth isn't bound by the same rules as individual species. It can share genetic information instantly across the entire biosphere. Every creature, every plant, every microorganism is connected through underground root networks, chemical signals, and electromagnetic fields we're only beginning to understand. A new alarm sounded in the bunker. Captain Martinez checked his communications device. Sir, we're receiving reports from our surviving forces. The aliens are retreating from all ground positions. President Chen stood up. Show me. The main screen shifted to satellite feeds of alien landing sites around the world. At each location, hegemony forces were pulling back to their transport ships under pressure from coordinated attacks by Earth's wildlife. But these weren't the random animal attacks the aliens had first encountered. These were military operations. Wolves herded alien soldiers toward ambush points where bears waited. Eagles and hawks provided aerial reconnaissance, while ground predators moved in perfect formations. Even herbivores had joined the fight, with elephants and rhinos charging alien positions while smaller animals created diversions. They're using tactics, Martinez observed in amazement. Complex military tactics. Because Earth is learning, Sarah explained. Every time the aliens use a new weapon or strategy, the entire biosphere adapts to counter it. They're not just fighting individual animals anymore. They're fighting a planet-wide intelligence that gets smarter with every engagement. Look at this, James called their attention to another screen. It showed the ruins of Berlin, where an alien firebase had been overrun. The attacking force had included everything from household pets to zoo, animals to creatures that had somehow traveled hundreds of miles from their natural habitats. Migration patterns are completely disrupted, he continued. Animals are leaving their territories and traveling to wherever they're needed most. It's like Earth has its own internet, and every living thing is connected to it. Sir, Martinez interrupted, we're getting reports that the alien orbital bombardment has stopped. Everyone looked up at the ceiling as if they could see through to the alien fleet above. For the first time in 3 days, the sky was quiet. Why would they stop? President Chen wondered. His answer came from Dr. Sarah Chen, who was staring at her tablet in shock. Because they're afraid, she whispered. Look at the seismic readings. The data she projected showed underground activity across every continent. The movements were coordinated, purposeful, and massive in scale. Something is moving beneath every major landmass on Earth, she explained. Something that's been dormant for geological ages. The alien attacks didn't just wake up the surface biosphere. They woke up the planet itself. What do you mean? Martinez asked. I mean the real Earth is starting to respond. What we've seen so far, the coordinated animals, the moving plants, the adapted creatures, that's just the surface ecosystem. But Earth has deeper layers, older layers, Things that have been sleeping in the planet's core since life first began. And now they're waking up, James added quietly. President Chen looked around the room at the faces of his advisors. How long until whatever's down there reaches the surface? Sarah checked her calculations twice before answering. 6 hours, Mr. President, maybe less. And what happens then? Then the aliens discover what humans learned millions of years ago, she replied. Earth doesn't just support life. Earth is life. And right now Earth is very, very angry. Above them in the alien fleet, Commander Zex-9 was staring at the same seismic readings with growing horror. His science officer had confirmed the impossible truth. The planet they were trying to conquer wasn't just inhabited by dangerous creatures. The planet itself was alive, and it was coming for them. Commander Zex-9 stood in the communication chamber of his flagship, staring at the holographic image of Fleet Admiral Keth Prime. The Admiral's 4 eyes showed the strain of command as reports flooded in from across hegemony space. You're telling me, the Admiral said slowly, that an entire planet has declared war on the hegemony. Not just declared war, sir, Zex-9 replied. The planet is at war. Every living thing on the surface is coordinating attacks against our forces. Our ground operations have been completely eliminated. By primitives with chemical weapons? No, sir, by the planet itself. Zex-9 activated his tactical display. Watch this. The hologram showed footage from their last surviving ground probe. A hegemony patrol had been moving through what the humans called the Pacific Northwest. The forest around them seemed normal at first. Then, without warning, every tree in a square kilometer area began to fall in the same direction. The trees didn't fall randomly. They fell in perfect sequence, creating a cascade that herded the alien soldiers toward a deep ravine. As the soldiers tried to escape, the ground itself opened up. Root systems that had been growing for centuries erupted from the earth, moving like massive tentacles. But the roots weren't acting alone. As they grabbed the fleeing soldiers, swarms of insects poured from the trees. Millions of them, all moving with military precision. They disabled the soldiers' equipment while the roots dragged them underground. The entire forest was a trap, Zex-9 explained. A trap that had been preparing for our arrival since before we entered the system. Admiral Keth Prime's main eyes narrowed. Planets don't think, Commander. Planets don't plan. This one does, sir. Zex-9 switched to another recording. Our xenobiology experts believe Earth's biosphere operates as a single organism. When we attacked the humans, we attacked part of that organism. Now the whole planet is responding. The new footage showed the Mariana Trench, the deepest part of Earth's oceans. Something was rising from its depths. Something vast and ancient that had never been seen on the surface before. It looked like a cross between a jellyfish and a city, with tendrils stretching for kilometers in every direction. What is that? The Admiral asked. We don't know, sir, but it's not alone. The image pulled back to show the entire Pacific Ocean. Across its breadth, similar creatures were rising from deep trenches and underwater canyons. Each one was the size of a small island, and they were all moving toward the surface. Our fleet is positioned above that area, Admiral Keth Prime observed. Yes, sir. The creatures will reach the surface in approximately 2 hours. The Admiral's breathing slowed as he processed the implications. Recall your fleet, Commander. Establish a safe orbit and reassess. Sir, with respect, there may not be a safe orbit. Show him the atmospheric readings. Zex-9 ordered. His science officer, Cole 4, appeared on the transmission. Admiral, Earth's atmosphere is changing. We're detecting massive increases in electrical activity, electromagnetic radiation, and chemical compounds we can't identify. The planet is altering its own atmospheric composition. For what purpose? We believe it's trying to create conditions hostile to our ships, she replied. Our vessels are designed for standard atmospheric entry and operations. If Earth can make its atmosphere corrosive or electrically hostile enough, our shields won't protect us. Admiral Keth Prime was quiet for a long moment. How long until the atmospheric changes affect your fleet? Unknown, sir. But we've already lost 3 scout ships to electrical storms that came out of nowhere. The storms followed our ships. They were targeted, sir. Storms don't target spacecraft, science officer. They do on Earth, sir. Zex-9 stepped forward. Admiral, I request immediate reinforcement. I need the 7th and 9th battle fleets. That's over 800 ships, Commander. Sir, this isn't a normal conquest. We're not fighting a species or even a civilization. We're fighting a living planet. Our entire understanding of warfare needs to be reconsidered. The Admiral's image flickered as another transmission interrupted. A new hegemony officer appeared on screen, Captain Nex 8 from the monitoring station at the edge of the system. Admiral, we're detecting massive energy signatures from Earth. The planet's electromagnetic output has increased by 3,000% in the last 6 hours. Source? Admiral Keth Prime demanded. Everything, sir. Every living thing on the planet is generating electrical activity. It's like the entire biosphere has become a massive biological computer. A computer calculating what? Zex-9 asked. Unknown. But the calculations are incredibly complex, far beyond anything a primitive species should be capable of. Admiral Keth Prime made his decision. Commander Zex-9, you are authorized to use biological weapons. If Earth wants to fight as a single organism, we'll treat it as a single target. Sir, biological weapons against an entire planet's biosphere could cause an extinction event. Then they should have surrendered when they had the chance. Deploy the viral agents, target every ecosystem simultaneously, break the connection between the planet and its component organisms. Zex-9 hesitated. He had seen what Earth's creatures could do when they worked together. If biological weapons made them desperate instead of breaking them apart, the results could be catastrophic. Sir, I recommend we try to negotiate first. The humans might be more reasonable now that they've seen our power. You've been in orbit for 6 days, Commander. In that time, you've lost your entire ground force and 3 ships to weather. This is not a negotiation. This is an extermination. Deploy the weapons. Yes, sir. The transmission ended, leaving Zex-9 alone with his officers. Around them, the flagship hummed with activity as the crew prepared the biological weapons. Each viral agent was designed to target a different type of Earth organism. Plants, animals, bacteria, fungi, nothing would be spared. Commander, Vex-3 called from his tactical station. The deep ocean creatures have reached the surface. Zex-9 looked at the main display. Across Earth's oceans, massive forms breached the surface. They were unlike anything in hegemony databases. Some looked like living islands covered in forests. Others resembled jellyfish the size of mountains. A few appeared to be made entirely of coral and seaweed woven together into impossible shapes. They're beautiful, Cole 4 whispered. They were, and they were terrifying. Sir, Communications Officer Deck 7 reported. We're receiving a transmission from the surface. It's from the humans, but it's different from before. How different? The signal is coming from everywhere, sir. Every human settlement, every wild area, even the oceans. It's like the entire planet is speaking with one voice. Put it through. The main screen filled with an image that made Zex-9's breathing stop. It wasn't a human face that appeared. It was something that looked human but wasn't quite right. The features were too perfect, the eyes too knowing. When it spoke, the voice carried harmonics that no single throat could produce. Hegemony Fleet, the thing said. You have attacked our children. You have poisoned our air and scorched our soil. You have given us no choice but to respond with the full power of our world. I am Commander Zex-9 of the Hegemony. You will surrender immediately or face extinction. The creature smiled, and the expression was more terrifying than any threat. We are Earth, we are life itself. You cannot extinct us any more than you can extinct existence, but we can show you what happens when a living planet decides to protect its family. Deploy the biological weapons, Zex-9 ordered quietly. Already done, sir, Vex-3 replied. Viral canisters released. They will reach the surface in 14 minutes. The creature on the screen tilted its head as if listening to something only it could hear. Your poisons are falling toward us now. Thank you. Thank you for giving us your genetic codes. Your biological weapons carry your DNA markers. Now we know how to find you. The transmission ended. Sir, Cole 4 called out urgently. I'm detecting massive biological activity on the planet's surface. Something's happening to the viral canisters. Zex-9 watched in horror as his instruments showed the truth. The biological weapons hadn't infected Earth's creatures. Instead, Earth's creatures were absorbing them, analyzing them, learning from them. They're adapting to our weapons in real time, Cole 4 reported. But that's not all, sir. They're also adapting the weapons themselves. What do you mean? The viruses are mutating, sir. Being redesigned. They're not targeting Earth life anymore. Zex-9 felt cold dread settle in his core. What are they targeting? Us, sir. They're targeting us. The transformation began at the moment Earth absorbed the alien biological weapons. Dr. Sarah Chen felt it first as a tingling in her fingertips, then as a warm sensation spreading through her entire nervous system. Around her in the underground bunker, every human present was experiencing the same phenomenon. "What's happening to us?" Captain Martinez asked, staring at his hands as faint patterns of light pulsed beneath his skin. "We're connecting," Sarah whispered, understanding flooding through her mind. "Earth is sharing its consciousness with us directly." Through her enhanced awareness, Sarah could suddenly perceive the entire planet. She felt the massive creatures rising from the ocean depths. She sensed the ancient root networks that spanned continents underground. She experienced the collective intelligence of every forest, every ecosystem, every living cell on Earth. And she understood what Earth was planning. "My God," she breathed. "It's not just defending anymore. It's learning to hunt." Above them, Commander Zex-9 watched his fleet. The first ship to fall was the heavy cruiser Dominant Force. It had been maintaining position above the Atlantic Ocean when something erupted from the water beneath it. The creature that emerged was impossible. A living biological structure the size of a space station, covered in what looked like organic weapon systems. "Evasive maneuvers," Zex-9 ordered, but it was too late. The creature fired not energy beams or projectiles, but clouds of what looked like spores. When they contacted the cruiser's hull, they began to grow. Within minutes, the ship's armor was covered in a thick biological coating that pulsed with alien life. "The coating is eating through our hull," reported the cruiser's captain. "All systems failing. It's like the ship is being digested alive." The Dominant Force went dark and fell toward Earth's surface. As it descended, more creatures emerged from the oceans to catch it. The ship disappeared into what looked like a living web of tentacles and bioluminescent organs. "Admiral," Zex-9 transmitted desperately to Fleet Command. "Request immediate evacuation. The planet has weaponized itself." Admiral Keth Prime's response was crackling with interference. "Negative, Commander. Hold position. The 7th Fleet is jumping to your location." "Sir, you don't understand. The biological weapons didn't work. They made Earth stronger. Impossible. No organism can adapt to military-grade viral agents in real time. This one can, sir. And it's using our own weapons against us." As if to prove his point, 3 more hegemony ships suddenly showed signs of infection. The modified viruses that Earth had created spread through their ventilation systems like wildfire. But instead of killing the crews, the viruses began changing them. "Commander," came a transmission from the cruiser Inevitable Victory. Our crew is becoming something else." On the main screen, Zex-9 watched the ship's internal cameras show hegemony soldiers transforming. Their armor was merging with their bodies. Their weapons were becoming part of their limbs. They were becoming living ships. "Sir," Science Officer Colfor reported with trembling voice, "the infected ships are changing course. They're heading toward the rest of our fleet. Open fire on them," Zex-9 ordered. "Don't let them reach us." "Sir, they're still our people. Not anymore." The hegemony fleet opened fire on their own transformed vessels. But the biological modifications Earth had made to them included defenses. The infected ships absorbed the energy weapon blasts and redirected them back at their attackers. "They're not just changed," Vex 3 observed in horror. "They're improved." More ships fell to the spreading infection. Each transformed vessel became a weapon that turned against the fleet. Within an hour, a quarter of Zex-9's forces had been converted to Earth's cause. "Sir?" Deck 7 called out. "Massive hyperspace signatures detected. The 7th Fleet is arriving." Space twisted as 800 hegemony warships dropped out of hyperspace. Fleet Admiral Keth Prime's flagship, the Absolute Authority, was a behemoth that dwarfed even Zex-9's command vessel. "This is Admiral Keth Prime," came the transmission. "Commander Zex-9 report. Sir, we've lost 30% of our fleet to biological conversion. The planet has turned our own weapons against us. I strongly recommend we withdraw and develop new strategies. Withdrawal is not an option. We have our reputation to consider. The hegemony does not retreat from primitive worlds. Sir, this is not a primitive world. This is something we've never encountered before." Admiral Keth Prime's response was cut off as alarms sounded throughout the fleet. On every ship, sensors detected the same impossible reading. Earth was moving. Not rotating on its axis or orbiting its star, but actually moving through space under its own power. The planet was breaking free from its solar system and heading directly toward the hegemony fleet. "That's impossible," Admiral Keth Prime transmitted. Planets don't have propulsion systems. This one does now, Zex-9 replied, watching his instruments in awe. It's using its magnetic field as a drive system. The entire planet has become a starship. As Earth approached, its surface began to change. Continents reshaped themselves into weapon configurations. The oceans became launch bays for biological missiles. The atmosphere itself condensed into a protective barrier that deflected the hegemony's most powerful weapons. All ships open fire, Admiral Keth Prime ordered. Concentrate everything on the planet's surface. Over 1,000 hegemony warships unleashed their combined firepower at Earth. Energy, beams capable of cracking moons struck the planet's atmospheric shield and simply disappeared, absorbed and converted into power for Earth's biological systems. Sir, reported one of the fleet captains, our weapons are making it stronger. That was when Earth fired back. The planet's response wasn't energy beams or missiles. It was life itself. Clouds of organisms erupted from Earth's surface, each one designed for a specific purpose. Some attached to hegemony ships and began converting them. Others carried modified viruses that could reprogram alien technology. A few were living computers that hacked into ship systems and turned them against their crews, but the most terrifying were the ones that looked almost human. These creatures moved through space without suits or protection. Their bodies adapted for vacuum conditions. They boarded hegemony ships not as conquerors but as teachers, showing the crews what they could become if they joined Earth's family. Many chose to join. Sir, Captain Martinez reported from the bunker on Earth's surface. We're receiving surrender signals from dozens of alien ships. President Chen looked at the displays showing the battle in space. They're surrendering to us? Not to us, Sarah Chen corrected, her consciousness now fully merged with Earth's awareness. To Earth, they understand now. They know what they're really fighting. And what's that? Life itself, the fundamental force that creates and protects existence throughout the universe. Earth isn't just a planet. It's an expression of life's will to survive and grow. In space, Admiral Keth Prime made a final desperate decision. Activate the planet killer, he ordered. The Absolute Authority's most powerful weapon charged to full power. It was designed to crack worlds open from core to surface. If it couldn't conquer Earth, it would destroy the planet entirely. The weapon fired. Earth caught the beam in its gravitational field and held it, analyzing its structure and purpose. Then impossibly, the planet began to laugh. The sound wasn't audible in space, but every conscious being in the system felt it. A deep, joyful laugh that spoke of ancient wisdom and infinite patience. Earth had just learned how to crack planets. Admiral, came a transmission from Earth's surface. It was President Chen, but when he spoke, his voice carried harmonics that no human throat could produce. Your weapon is fascinating. Thank you for the lesson. Impossible, Admiral Keth Prime whispered. You've been trying to save us from our world, the enhanced president continued, but you never understood. We aren't prisoners here. We're Earth's children, and Earth is coming with us to meet the rest of the galaxy. Around Earth, space began to ripple as the planet prepared to jump to hyperspace. But it wasn't jumping alone. Dozens of converted hegemony ships moved into formation around the planet. The surrendered vessels had been transformed into something new. Living ships that were part of Earth's extended family. This is our gift to the galaxy, President Chen announced. Life itself, traveling to every world offering the same choice we offered you. Join our family willingly, or Earth will teach you what family means. Admiral Keth Prime watched in horror as Earth and its fleet disappeared into hyperspace. In the space where the planet had been, a single message remained, broadcasted on all frequencies. We are the children of Earth. We are coming home to the stars. Every world that harms its children will answer to us. Every species that destroys life will learn what it means to face a living planet. The galaxy is about to discover what humans learned long ago. Earth always protects its family. And family, the message concluded, includes everyone. The hegemony fleet found itself alone in an empty solar system, facing the impossible truth that a primitive world had just declared war on the entire galaxy. And somewhere in the depths of space, Earth was teaching its new children how to hunt among the stars.